Now let's take a look at one of the more unsettling things in this documentary, and that is the Denver airport. Now there's an aerial photo of the Denver airport in Colorado, USA, and you might notice that that's a swastika. Even though there's stuff being built all around it, you can clearly tell that's a swastika. And there's also rumored to be a very large underground base beneath this airport. And in case there were any doubts as to whether or not that was a swastika, this is an aerial blueprint of the airport. And again, you can clearly see that that is the symbol of ancient sun worship used by many cults around the world and many cultures around the world. Now this is a capstone. A capstone is just a Masonic marker, and this is located in the airport in the section known as the Great Hall. The Great Hall is what Masons call their meeting places. On the right you see the words Grand Lodge, telling everyone that's a Masonic lodge. In the middle you see a compass and set square. Below that the date, and then the words New World Airport Commission. Well, according to these murals, they do have a New World plan. It's just that most of us won't be around to see it. Now this is a look at that capstone a little bit farther back. Notice the futuristic keypad there at the top. Notice the arm sticking out at a 45-degree angle. And also the esoteric designs on the floor. The Denver airport is riddled with these all throughout it. So if you're ever in Colorado and you get the chance to walk through the airport, I highly recommend it. There's stuff like this all over the place. And you'll see more of that in some of the video that is in this film. Now here's the first mural, and notice they're all drawn like Disney cartoons. And again, these are all out in the open. These are out there for the public to see. Let me go ahead and read this to you. I was once a little child who longed for other worlds, but I am no more a child, for I have known fear. I have learned to hate. How tragic then is youth, which lives with enemies, with gallows ropes. Yet I still believe I only sleep today, that I'll wake up a child again and start to laugh and play. Now I'm not going to explain what this means to you, because these murals will actually do it for me, and you'll come to understand what that little poem here actually is. Let's take a look at what's happening here. In the foreground there you see all the dead, the people that were killed. In the background it's fires burning the human structures, the human cities, and between the dead and the fires are the survivors. And the survivors have animals, either extinct or extremely rare animals, in cases that they're going to re-release into the wild once the destruction of the world is complete. If these animals are still around, they'll be kept, and if they're extinct, they will be brought back through genetic re-engineering. And you can see that nature is already flourishing. See the vines growing out there, see the trees left untouched. The theme is rebirth through death. Now that's a very, very common theme through fascist societies, whether you're talking about Nazi Germany or whether you're talking about the Aztecs. And you see signs of this everywhere in this mural. See the buffalo on the right and the cheetah there above the Native American woman in the middle. Notice that everyone in the picture is culturally distinct. I mean, both alive and dead, everyone is very culturally distinct, and that is a reference to the multiculturalism, the social engineering that is going on today. Now here's a close-up of the woman in the coffin in the center. That's a Native American woman. And see the horrified look on her face. She is terrified. Even as she's dead, she's laying there in the coffin, and she's still got that look on her face. And again, notice all the exotic wildlife that she's surrounded by. Here's a close-up of the coffin on the left. There's a black woman there, and she's got shackles on her wrist. Notice that. She's holding a flower. And the sea turtle there on her left, more exotic wildlife above you on the right, and the bird there that is, notice the words extinct, that is extinct, that they're keeping in the glass case, that they're going to re-release into the wild once all of the people and their cities have been decimated. Now here's a picture of a girl, and notice she's got the Star of David on her chest, and she's also got a Bible with a cross on it. That's a reference to Christ, New Testament, and shamrocks. On her neck is a watch. The watch is broken, and that's also something that is associated with Freemasonry. Many times Freemasons will come up and ask another one what time it is, and they're supposed to respond, "There is no time," or something to that effect. And the reason that the girl has the Star of David and the shamrocks and in the Bible is that it is a reference to multiculturalism. And even the quilt behind her has all kinds of different designs on it that also have other meanings. And so we see again the references to multiculturalism and the constant theme, rebirth through death. Here's a close-up of the Mayan girl in the pic, and she's holding a Mayan tablet there that is foretelling the coming of the end of the world, or the destruction of the world in 2012. And you see the green life force there flowing out of that and burning the man-made structures behind her. And then you see nature flourishing, the trees and the grass in the background left untouched. And that also goes back to the watch that the girl before had on, the end of time. This is certainly one of the more grotesque things you're ever going to see in an airport. Notice the white dove at the end of his sword that stands for peace, peace after the destruction of the cities, peace after the death of billions. That, of course, is the dream of every tyrant fool in history. Notice he's chopping down a human city with his sword. There's a rainbow behind his gun. And in the bottom right-hand corner there is a note that I read to you earlier. And behind him is a line of women with dead babies. All the babies have died. There are also no elderly. Notice everyone that is surviving is young, very culturally distinct. No elderly, no babies. And there's a close-up, and of course between the women and the soldier there are the people that he's going to allow to live. Here is the end result of genocide, the end result of the war, and the people of the world, all the people of the world have all came together and defeated this one strong man. Notice that the German boy is taking everyone's weapons and pounding them into plowshares on top of this guy's dead body. The white doves are there resting on him. And everyone is young and everyone is culturally distinct. Even the adults in this photo are very young. And everyone is wrapping up their weapons and turning them into this figure. And the theme, or the idea, is that once all the weapons are destroyed, the world will live in peace. But as we've seen in history, once that happens, once a country has disarmed its public, or once a continent has been disarmed, peace usually does not come about. The abuses simply get greater. It's simply followed by more genocide. The population is disarmed and then they are systematically killed. And we've seen this over and over in the Soviet Union, in China, in Africa, where they will routinely disarm the public and then the military will come in there and kill people. Here's just a close-up of that German boy that I believe is a reference to the House of Windsor, Saxe, Coburg, Gotha, the British royal family, or possibly the Rothschilds, another German powerhouse family. Another close-up, and by the way, most people don't even know that the British royal family is in fact German. That just goes to show you the power of these people. And the banner in the middle there just says, the yellow banner says peace in many different languages. There's a close-up of the Boy Scout, got his weapons wrapped in American flags, or the Cub Scout rather, and he's turning them all in, and they want that to be very clear. And then on the right there you see the flag of Israel. And here's what the world's supposed to look like after the death, after the destruction, this free willy moment between man and nature. And this is supposed to be the new Garden of Eden. This new Garden of Eden, pictured here, is something that many people are taught in different religions and cultures. A place that's supposed to be perfect, where children can play with lions without the fear of being bitten or eaten. And of course, you see the exotic animals there in the background and the foreground, extinct animals brought back in the world through renaturalization programs. And all the people are young. They're all very young, and no babies, no elderly, and they're all very happy. Of course, this is supposed to be a paradise. They've all given up their weapons. They've been totally subverted. and everyone is supposed to just be overjoyed by this. And of course, this is assuming that the people that took all their weapons won't abuse their authority. Again, this is supposed to be the new Garden of Eden, but one must question the kind of world that is going to be built on the top of billions of corpses.